The Lullian principles are given by using the elemental tree to illustrate the varying aspects of how secret knowledge is obtained in the occultic world. However, I must point out the use of trees in illustration of how man gains certain knowledge is clearly noted in the Bible first and the Book of Enoch. It seems most philosophers mock God. They either worship or follow after knowledge instead of the Creator. But I digress. So the basic knowledge or concepts of art, or the visual mental images that manifest as illustrations in manuscripts, is what Llull brought to the table, so to speak, and so noted in history, at least according to this article, that Llull's tree of science was used as a structuring device. But the Bible and the Book of Enoch state otherwise, don't they? This illuminating knowledge was brought forth by the serpent in the garden and the fallen angels. This Lullian concept of hierarchy and natural order, using trees as symbols of higher intellect of understanding, is just misleading and fundamentally wrong in my opinion. So what about Llull's teachings do the occultists, or should we say the enlightened ones, hold the most dear? Going back to the article regarding Llull and trees, the first tree Llull's mentioned in his writings of the tree of science is the elemental tree. So with the elemental tree, trees represent, as in each part, learning or obtaining knowledge. And each part, roots, trunk, branches, leaves, twigs, fruit, so on and so forth, have a specific part in the obtaining of knowledge or in the learning. Gee, that sounds a lot like the tree of knowledge of good and evil, doesn't it? And according to Llull's occultic teachings, trees are symbols to those who are less intellectual to acquire creativity, and creativity being art. So I guess that's why they associate art with Llull's tree of science. And as so noted here in the article, trees are polyvalent symbols, which is stimulating thought on different levels, kind of like all the trees described in the Bible. But as I was looking this up, I came across the definition of polyvalent, and is it a coincidence that polyvalent is also referred to as this? Specifically, just like this article points out here, the Bible refers to the stump of Jesse, the tree of knowledge, and the tree of life. So what is the stump or root of Jesse? The Bible refers to the stump or root of Jesse in Isaiah 11. And I'm going to read Isaiah 11 in part here, verse 1 and 2. There shall come forth a rod from the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. And verse 10, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, who shall stand as a banner to the people, for the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious. This particular Bible passage is a very important prophetic message. It tells the prophecy of the coming Messiah, doesn't it? It sounds to me like Llull ism. All he did was take from what was already written in the Bible with the tree of knowledge of good and evil, at least in my opinion. And in following their own words here, I believe the first important role of a tree in Llull's teachings are symbolically representing genealogy and sacred history, or i.e., the family tree. It's interesting to note those following Llull speak of the tree of Jesse, even though the Bible clearly indicates stump or root. So why do you suppose that is? Distracting from the truth, perhaps? They go on to point out here, as the tree of Jesse is as appearing in, quote, different media forms of illuminated manuscripts all the way to stained glass, etc., close quote, all to render the audience subject to different modes of perception. Wow. So all of this is pointing to the doors of perception. I am so not surprised. We will continue on in the next video, moving on to the tree of knowledge that's specifically mentioned in the Bible, and perhaps some passages from the Book of Enoch also regarding trees.